Hey y'all, Grand Rising, good afternoon and good evening. Thank you in advance for tuning in. Whatever time you click on this reading is the right time for you. And y'all, I don't know how many of you have seen this interview on Club SHAY, but Gary Owens had a sit-down interview. And for those of you who watch YouTube, especially in the sector where people react to things that affect the African diaspora, the Black community, this interview ended up trending for all the wrong reasons. And that's why I'm tapping in tonight. Gary Owens made a comment where he looked Shannon Sharpe directly in his face. No smile, was very serious. And how this even came about in the conversation was he was talking about comedians who are corporatized, who may possibly want to say certain things, but they can't because they work for the parent companies like Kevin Hart. And he also named the comedians who could say whatever they wanted to say or do what they wanted to do because they're self-made, like Cat Williams, just to name one. And after he, explained this and he broke this down, he looked Shannon Sharpe dead in his face, like I said, without a smile, was very direct, and he told him that you don't protect Black women. And Shannon Sharpe, instead of possibly, redirecting him to make him explain why he said that or to tell him that that wasn't true, he started, laughing like he was at Def Comedy Jam, like he was watching Eddie Murphy Raw. I mean, cackled even. And he laughed and laughed and laughed until Gary finally laughed along with him. But he was telling Shannon that you don't support Black women, and that's probably why you get the sponsorship you get. Now, I can't tell anybody how to feel about that interview, that exchange, because to each his own, we're all different. But for me, that made me rescind all support that I've ever had for Shannon Sharpe. Because at the end of the day, it's not even about if you date in or outside of your race. Your preference is your preference. That's your business. But for someone to say that you don't take up for or protect Black women, you had a Black mother, a grandmother, aunts, cousins, and on we go. And the undertone of that comment is Black women really are safer with Gary than they are with you. Worst part about it is Shannon didn't even make a slight attempt to correct him or redirect what he said in any shape, form, or fashion. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and tap in. Let's go ahead and timestamp this video for the 5-minute mark. I just wanted to get people up to speed on what happened for those who haven't seen the interview. Tap me into the energy around Gary Owens. Show me the energy around Gary Owens and why he said what he said to Shannon Sharpe. Okay, so we've got the moon here. So the moon represents things that are not seen. 8 of Wands. So that lets me know that Shannon more so laughed out of a nervous laughter because he didn't see that one coming. Well, well, well. 10 of Swords. So secretly he felt betrayed. And then here it is, someone considering their option, 7 of Cups. Now, here it is, 6 of Swords. This represents a woman escaping a toxic situation, going into the dawn of a new day. This is a woman who is leaving behind an unsafe environment, going to safety with her child in the middle of the night. And maybe this is why Shannon is considering his options, because now that a little time has passed, now that he's gotten to think about it, he doesn't want Black women to abandon ship. So now you've got the Queen of Wands, 4 of Pentacles. Secretly on the back end, it's like he's realizing that support from Black women is not just highly prosperous, profitable. That's what I meant to say, but highly prosperous and profitable. This is a hot demographic, okay? This is one of those demographics that is highly attractive, and it's like if you have the Black woman support the Black demographic, you can't go wrong. And he's thinking about how this is going to affect him when it comes to pretty much the financial stability of his show, which trickles down to financial stability for him. And like I said, this came at him fast, okay? He didn't expect this to come, but Ace of Swords is a card that represents truth. So to wrap this up, secretly Gary really believed this. Before I go any further, this reading is for entertainment purposes only. So Gary actually, in his heart of all hearts, he said it because he really believed it. And he felt like, you know, secretly, this is one of those very well understood situations. It's something to where it doesn't have to be said, but it's well known. It's widely accepted or expressed on some level on the other side of the camera, you know, when we're not around. So him saying the quiet part out loud is not necessarily that it's the other side of the moon, that it's a secret. It's just, to Shannon, it feels like a betrayal that he would have said this, you know, out loud in front of everybody. And Wow. It's just, you know, also the Seven of Cups represents libations. So this is another reason why Shannon may have reacted the way that he did, out of nervousness, a bit tipsy, like, well, damn, where did that come from? But the energy that I got around what Gary Owens said, the energy I feel that I'm pulling psychically is that this was 100% truth. He really felt this way. He really sees him this way. And there's the, you know, the Four of Pentacles, which, you know, Shannon's really thinking about how this is going to affect his stability. Should he apologize? But it's kind of weird because it's like at this point, apologize for what? Like, you buckled over laughing. That's worse than actually saying something derogatory. Like, you laughed as if this was the best joke that he had ever told in his whole career. Yeah. So the Ace of Swords fall under the Moon, which means that secretly this was the truth. And now he feels ostracized over this being brought to the light, because, you know, the Hermit is someone who pretty much stays out the way, who is to themselves. But this Lantern is the Lantern of truth. And, you know, when this Hermit is to themselves, they go off into being able to have downloads, to become enlightened. When they come back out, they are someone that is highly intuitive, someone that is very intelligent. So, you know, you created this platform to be a beacon of light, a beacon of truth, and it's like it's backfired on you. Can't make this up, y'all. I just shuffled. This was at the bottom of the deck. The Hermit. So he feels betrayed by Gary enlightening us with something that was like an undercurrent, an undertone, something that was already being said, you know, the whispers, the silent part that's said out loud, so to speak. And now he feels ostracized after this collaboration, after they work together. Yeah, so he's definitely considering his options and how this is going to affect his bottom line, his stability. And now he has to think about how does he work with or collaborate with, you know, women and this demographic, Black women, after this, because this was a major tower. So, you know, now he swiftly has to find a way to figure out a new way to approach things. The Page of Wands. Because this brought hardship. This was like carrying cinder blocks on your shoulders. So 10 of Pentacles under the 4 of Pentacles. So once again, he's thinking about his stability. He's thinking about what he's amassed, what he's built with this show. How is this going to affect his marketability, his chance to continue to build this platform? Because 6 of Cups, this is something that has been, you know, said throughout the years. This is things that he's been accused of in the past. But the difference is it puts a whole new light on it, a whole new energy on it, when someone outside of your community looks you in your face and they say this. It's a different type of bullseye. Yeah. So it's like now he's juggling with this truth that, you know, he wanted to pretty much keep buried, allegedly. Because it's like this brings deep sympathy and regret. This brings shame. There may have been a moment to where if it's not his mom or his, you know, aunts, it's to be able to speak to them, to see the looks on the face of Black women after this interview. Now he realizes how much hurt it brought. Because sometimes things that are said can't be unsaid, and things that are done can't be undone. And this is where the harsh reality lies. This is where the shame and regret comes from. Yeah, so once again, the Six of Cups, energy from the past being revisited. And it's like, it's not just about him feeling betrayed, but it's like now he feels like he has his arms tied behind his back because now people feel betrayed by him, and he could end up being ostracized by, you know, a large portion of his community for this. And this isn't just about Black women ostracizing him. There are men who watched that and it made them feel highly uncomfortable as well. Oh yeah. So the Lovers represents choice. Also, it's the card of Gemini, and we are, you know, in Gemini season. Well, this happened rather in Gemini season. So he's considering his options to, like I said, when it comes to his stability over this choice. And he's going to have to be careful, because now that he's pissed off a very large sector of people, not just women, people are going to start digging for information on him and third-party energies and things that, you know, he may have going on that he doesn't quite discuss. And when this happens, Seven of Pentacles, this is the as you sow, so shall you reap card. So he's not going to get any sympathy from Black women when the other shoe drops for him. He's just going to have to understand that for a large amount of these women, a large amount of people in general, this was like a nail in the coffin. They're never going to look at him the same. Death is like a transition through a final end. And it comes through, wow. So it's almost like he's going over this whole thing in his head, and he may want to scrap the drinking part of the show, but the drinking part is not what got Gary to say this. Gary appeared to be very sober. He was in his right mind. He was very clear and direct with what he said. And the interesting part about it was you could tell he feared no consequence for what he was saying. It was no worry about retribution. He stood on what he said. He did not take it back. He did not apologize. He only laughed after Shannon appeared to not be able to stop laughing. So it was like a knee-jerk reaction, that turned into, okay, this is weird. Okay, you're laughing, I'm going to laugh at you type thing, which makes this even odder. And all he wants to do, like all Shannon wants to do is apologize, but he doesn't know how. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know where to start. Yeah. This is one of those apology denied type things. Unfortunately, he's lost a lot of respect from his viewership. So this falls under the 10 of Pentacles and the 4 of Pentacles. This is even going to change the energetic pull with the guests that come on his show. Some guests are not going to want to sit with him anymore. And then you're going to have other guests that come on that are going to want to have a moment. They're going to want to have a viral moment, and it could be at his expense. And they're going to flip it on him and say, hey, you didn't feel no type of way when the white guy came on here and said that. When the white boy called you out, you set up and laughed. So what's the problem with me? And no disrespect to Gary, because that's a grown-ass man. But, yeah, this is the energy that I see. He kind of set himself up for failure with that. And I'm not saying that he had to cuss Gary out or anything of that nature. But the response, the way that he laughed, was very, very telling. And what was even more telling was the men off camera who laughed right along with them. Because some were laughing at him, and then you had some that were laughing with them. But it's just like the wow of it all. Like, wow. He really did call you out. He said that to your face. Couldn't be me. Interesting. Yeah, so we keep sending an apology card. It finally comes out. So it's like he's juggling with if he should apologize or not. How should he handle this? What was this? We got the 8 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. And I saw a tower. You know, he's really worried about, you know, people walking away from him, how this is going to affect his show, how he is going to be able to be seen and looked at throughout his community now. Knight of Pentacles, this falls under the betrayal, the hermit. People are going to rescind their support, and this is going to cost him. Knight of Pentacles means your money is slowing down to the vehicle, which is the show that you are pushing. Yep. People are going to walk away from you due to the choices that were made on this show. And it's going to affect his work because it's going to change the type of guests that he can bring on this show. So if he does decide to apologize to Black women because of this, because he wants to preserve working relationships and be able to sow into this show, to invest in helping this show to continue to grow, he might as well pay it dust, because there's a lot of Black women who just don't have it to give. And this is going to get him cut off with a lot of people in the community. which is going to affect funding, sponsorship, 6 of coins, justice, and the 8 of coins. Yeah, this is going to affect his work. And this is like, you know, karmic energy coming back to him. Because, like I said, a lot of people are going to be like, we've heard this for years. You know, I'm not surprised. But the fact that you allowed, and I have to say this because it really resonates from a different place. People are going to look at him and say, you let a white man sit on your show, look you dead in your face and say this. And started cooning and shucking and jiving when you start laughing. And this is going to have him in a very dark place, the wounded warrior. It's going to take him a while to be able to maneuver out of this energy. Because the wounded warrior is somebody who goes into battle. They go into, you know, constant not even just going into battle. They constantly go into and out of aggressive situations over and over again. So this is that he's got to be willing to get knocked down 9 and get up 10. Because if he doesn't have thick skin and he's not willing to push through this and push through the onslaught of verbal attacks and the commentaries, he's not going to make it through this. So he's definitely got to have thick skin to keep going until the algorithm changes. But he's got to also understand that even when the media cycle ends 7 days later, the feelings don't. A lot of people are going to be rooted in how they feel. Yeah. And here's the wounded warrior, 8 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. So it's like he's going to be trapped in this energy. It's like a loop to where he's going to have to keep, you know, fighting his way through to try to prove himself, because it really put a bad, sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I won't say black women, just the black community in general. It's so many people that feel like we've come too far for this. We're rooting for you. You know, we've been watching your success. We've been right along with you, watching you build this. We were so happy to see you build this safe place where people could come on here and talk, and we could watch you do some great things, because this felt like, you know, an open, comfortable place that wasn't contrived. And this situation toppled a lot of that. So at the end of the day, I'm not mad at Gary for saying what he said. I'm more so disturbed that Shannon reacted the way he did to what he said. I mean, I have a small platform. I'm over here on the little side of YouTube, and I don't allow anyone to come to my page and tear down black men. If a black man is wrong, yes, you know, feel free to point out that that black man is not in right, you know, in righteous standing. But no one can come over here and destroy black men as a whole. I won't do it. I won't allow anyone to do it on our page. And I say our page because if you're here with me, then welcome to the family. we've got to do a better job of taking care of one another. We've got to do a better job of uplifting one another, because that's the only way that we can keep, changing the narrative. We can get away from the stereotypes, and people can be seen as actual people versus caricatures. So for me, like I said, I can't tell anybody what to do or how to feel about the situation, but I no longer will be watching. And it's not because of Gary saying the quiet parts out loud. That wasn't the problem. The problem for me was, not only did you laugh about this, you never once said he was wrong. So here it is. This white man who was married to a black woman, has a black daughter, has a black son, is a safer place and safe space for black women than you. And that's by admission of your own laughter. That, for me, is the hard pill to swallow. It's not about you, dating women outside of your race. That's fine. That's your preference. That's your business. That still doesn't mean that if you date women outside of your race, that the women of your community where you come from aren't safe around you. But to laugh when a person who's not even from your community tells you something like that, and you don't change the narrative in any shape, form, or fashion, yeah, that's not a good look. But I'm going to go ahead and close this here. Thank you, everyone, for your support, for your viewership. I appreciate every last one of you. If you haven't seen the clip, I would suggest that, you go and find it on YouTube. The interview is relatively new, so it shouldn't be hard to find. And meet me down below in the comments so that we can have an open discussion. You already know, if you've been here with me for a while, I don't expect anybody to agree with me. I actually invite, opposing comments, as long as we're all respectful. But I'm going to end it here. And all of you have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you click on to this reading. This reading is adjourned. Talk to y'all soon.